What's going, people? Eric Zubik here, covering more of your Goofs. Now, last week we went to a different season, but hey, some of us are nostalgic. We like the VHS order. Let's just roll with it. This week, Old Iron. Some of you may consider this a favorite. I have a different favorite myself coming up later. We'll get to it when we get there. Don't worry. Anyway, Old Iron. Let's do it. Now!
One day, James had to wait at the station till Edward and his train came in. This made him cross. Late again?
Yeah, even though there's a few things wrong with you, James. You have a bit of a gap issue on the right eye, as per always. There's a crumb on your smoke box. And your faceplate seems a little off, basically. The right side's not fully on all the way. It's like more to the left. Edward has a bit of an eyebrow issue. He'll have another one, much notable later. Trust me on this one.
Edward laughed, and James fumed away.
Ooh, and he's even more crummy on different spots. What a pity. Also, there were different sides on the coaches.
James had finished his work, he went back to the yard and puffed onto the turntable.
There's going to be an issue with that turntable, just so we're clear. We've seen it before in Season 1. It might be no different here.
He was still feeling very bad-tempered. Edward is impossible, he grumbled to the others. He clanks about like a lot of old iron.
Yeah, every time an engine goes off it tilts. That's abnormal.
And he is so slow he makes us wait.
We got wonky eyes on Thomas. We have a bit of wonk on Percy. And James's tracks that lead to the shed are not on straight at all. They're crooked. Or curved, whatever you want to call it.
Thomas and Percy were indignant. Old iron? Slow? Why, Edward could beat you in a race any day. Really? Said James. I should like to see him do it. Next morning, James's driver was suddenly taken ill. He could hardly stand, so the fireman uncoupled James ready for shunting. James was impatient. Suddenly, the signalman shouted. There was James puffing away down the line.
With a slightly more or of a wonk issue than he had through the whole story.
All traffic halted, he announced at last. Then he told the fireman what had happened. Two boys were on James's footplate fiddling with the controls. Phew! They tumbled off and ran when James started. The signalman answered the telephone. Yes, he's here. Right. I'll tell him. The inspector's coming at once. He wants a shunter's pole and a coil of wire rope. What for? Wondered the fireman. Search me, but you'd better get them quickly. The fireman was ready when Edward arrived.
Although we got a couple penalties on Edward. Where's his eyebrows? Also, I know it's a little bit late after the Super Bowl, but offsides! 10-yard penalty! Consider that a goof!
The inspector saw the pole and the rope. Good man, jump in.
Ugh, this worker is definitely blushing. That should not be normal for one of the workmen. Well, not construction worker, but you know what I mean.
catch him, we'll catch him, puffed Edward. James was laughing. What a lark, he chuckled to himself. Suddenly he was going faster and faster. He realized that he had no driver. What shall I do? I can't stop.
And it looks like you're going to the end of the set. Also, there's a bit more of an issue. In the next scene, they're going through a tunnel. That wasn't seen in the previous scene. Uh-oh, I spy wonky eyes. Henry!
We're coming, called Edward. Edward was panting up behind with every ounce of steam he had. At last he caught up with James. Steady, Edward.
Okay, look, there's no tunnel in this scene. Yeah, there was supposed to be one. Really good editing, guys.
Called his driver. The inspector stood on Edward's front, holding a noose of rope in the crook of the shunter's pole. He was trying to slip it over James's buffer.
And now the tunnel reappears.
The engine swayed and lurched.
That's the same piece of scene they just went through. How many times is this? This is like 4 times they passed through it. Okay, maybe 2 or 3 with Edward.
At last! Got him! He shouted. He pulled the noose tight. Gently braking, Edward's driver checked the engine's speed, and James's fireman scrambled across and took control. So the old iron...
Hey, wait a minute, hold on a minute.
And James's fireman scrambled across and took control.
And now you're on the other end of the set again. How is that possible? Also, James, where are your teeth?
So the...
Offsides again. And blue engine. Another 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Old iron caught you after all, chuckled Edward. I'm sorry, whispered James. Thank you for saving me. You were splendid, Edward. That's all right, replied Edward. The engines arrived at the station side by side. Sir Topham Hatt was waiting. A fine piece of work, he said. James, you can rest and then take your train. I'm proud of you, Edward. You shall go to the works and have your worn parts mended.
And maybe his eyeballs fixed. There's some divots.
Oh, thank you, sir, said Edward. It'll be lovely not to clank.
And that's the end of the story. Comment down below if we missed any goofs. Do not forget to like this video, and if you really enjoyed it, do not forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And we'll catch you guys in the next station. All aboard!